Good morning. We apologize for being a little bit late this morning, but we're grateful to be able to kick off our National Ladder Safety Month. And we wanted to do that in a way that hopefully we can all learn a little bit ourselves on how to be safe working on ladders. So to kick off, why would we have a National Ladder Safety Month? Anybody have any idea why we would do this? Why is this an important thing? Why is there a movement moving across the country and actually internationally now where there are a lot of companies involved in a National Ladder Safety Month? Any ideas? One at a time. Amy, you create awareness. That's great. Why are we creating awareness? Charles?
The amount of accidents that happen every day with ladders demands that we need to do something to lower that number of happening so that people go home at night.
So people go home at night. Do you realize that the industry that we're a part of, and while we have this meeting today, there will be hundreds of people injured in ladder accidents, just while we have this meeting here in America. To put it into perspective, and Charles brought this up, that number. So today there will be 2,000 ladder accidents in America, today, and 100 disabilities and a death every day. So 350 deaths a year. Ladder accidents. Any idea during the Afghanistan war that we not so long ago got out of, how many American soldiers died every year during that Afghanistan war? There was 145 deaths, American soldiers, every year in that war. And yet in ladder accidents at the same time, 350 deaths every year. 3 times the number of deaths on ladders in America than American soldiers died in that war. So something has to be done, and because of the efforts that you all are making, we are making a difference in reducing that. So take a look at this slide here. This is, can I pull this out? I don't have this memorized here, but so this is something that's somebody pointed out for me what they say here. These are the things that we're often afraid of, or we think maybe cause deaths. Really interesting. So we got ladders here at 365 deaths a year. Sharks. How many people are afraid of sharks? Probably most of us, right? There's 7.6, almost 8 people a year killed by sharks. Should you be more afraid of sharks or ladders? Chainsaws. This was a surprise to me. Chainsaw. There's 1 chainsaw death a year. Really surprised me. I thought it would have been much, much higher than that. Ladders, 365 a year. Lightning, 40 to 50 people a year. Faulty parachutes. 21 people die a year from a faulty parachute. Hurricanes, 17 people. Tigers, 85. That seems excessive to me, but 85 tiger deaths. Spiders, 50. And in plane crashes, 271 people. Fewer people die every year in plane crashes than on ladders. So where's the problem? Ladders. And we are leading the way in the solution. Many of you have heard me say this. I've been a part of the American Ladder Institute for now probably 11, 12 years. They don't ever talk about this. And the American Ladder Institute is made up of the other ladder manufacturers. And they don't talk about this problem because they realize they're a part of it and not sure what to do. But Little Giant has stepped forward, and we said, hey, we're going to fix this problem. We're going to reduce the 2,000 injuries that happen every day and the 100 disabilities and the death that happens every day. And so this is what we're a part of. So the most important thing for us to make sure is that we take care of our own house first, right? We can't help other people be safe if we're not being safe ourselves. And so one of the things that we're going to do today, and we have Super Dave Francis here, who you guys know, love and know, we are going to have our own ladder safety training to make sure that all of us put our best foot forward, that we're doing the right things when it comes to being safe on ladders. It starts with us, and then of course it has to emanate throughout the rest of the country, and we're doing that. Dave travels almost every week somewhere in this country to teach people about better ladder safety training or education, how to use the ladders, and then also better products. Those are the ones that you're making. I think a lot of you probably know Jeff Spackman. He's one of our salesmen. Jeff shared a story a while back when he used to be a safety officer for a cable company. He had a gentleman that worked for him who had a birthday, and his entire family flew in to see him. And it just so happened that day that he had a very serious ladder accident. And Jeff, being the safety officer, had to go and tell the surprise party that he wasn't coming to his surprise party. Now, Jeff gets emotional every time he talks about that. There are thousands of safety officers that deal with those types of scenarios every day. And when you hear them talk about it, they get emotional because these are people they love, that they trust, that they work with. They're their coworkers. It would be just as if when one of you got hurt. We have to do everything in our power, not just from a ladder perspective, but anywhere that you may see that we have a potential for risk, for somebody risking somebody's health and safety, we need to know about it. We need to know because we want to put things in place that would prevent any of you from ever getting hurt. Not just on ladders, but anywhere in this workplace. We have to lead the way. I was here with a couple of safety professionals doing a tour yesterday from Dish Network, and one of them pointed out a safety risk. And they said, "Do you have a safety professional on staff?" And I said, "We do." And they said, "Well, what about this?" And they pointed out something out here, and I said, "We'll get right on that." We need to be leaders in our own right first, so that we can share the message with the rest of the world. So we're going to watch a couple of videos. We're going to have a demonstration by Dave, and we're going to be taught by him. So the first thing we want to do is share a video. Well, we've got 3 different videos on our why, and so I think we've got the first one pulled up. Some good-looking guy there. How about a hand for Terry, right?
Hi, I'm Terry Penrod, VP of Manufacturing at Little Giant Ladders. Little Giant's why is preventing injuries, saving lives. Little Giant's why means to me quality product for the customer. I've been working here for 30 years, and the founder, Hal Wing, when I first started working here, his main thing was always quality and his value for his employees. So I kind of took that as we meant so much to him. It feels good to have a good quality product. That's kind of what I've been thinking about for the last 30 years, and I can go home knowing that we're building a quality ladder, and the people that surround me are wonderful, and how much pride that they put into the product. I'm Terry Penrod, and I prevent injuries and save lives.
Hi, my name is Dave Francis, and I'm the National Safety Director for Little Giant Ladders. Little Giant's why is preventing injuries, saving lives. What that means to me is getting people home at the end of the day. As National Safety Director for Little Giant, our why is my job. Speaking to groups and associations, helping bring back ideas from the end user on how to make the product better, meeting with government agencies on changing regulations. It's turned into a movement or a revolution in the industry. We're going to change the design, all with the end goal of providing a safer climbing product to get the user home to the things that he loves. My name's Dave Francis, and I prevent injuries and save lives.
My name is Gary Lee Price, and I'm a sculptor. Been sculpting full-time for about 40 years. The thing that I enjoy sculpting the most is the human figure. Of course, I do animals and birds. Birds are my second favorite thing to do. But I love sculpting the human figure just because it's a statement of humanity, who we are, and the whole psychology of being on the earth. I would have to say my influences would be Michelangelo, of course, Auguste Rodin, Bartholdi, who did the Statue of Liberty, more of the traditional figurative sculptors. The type of clay that I use, it's really a fun clay to work with. It never hardens, it never sets up. I use an oil-based clay because I want to be able to work on 4 or 5 different sculptures at the same time, and I want to get just the highest quality I can. And so if that clay is flexible and always in a state of flux, I can go to one piece and then something else, and then I'll see something else and I'll go to that piece, thereby keeping my eye and my mind always fresh. Love using quality materials. A lot of times with these larger sculptures, you end up being off the ground and you end up getting into places where you need to add detail or be able to put more clay on. The Little Giant ladders, I tell you, they're extremely well built. They're so solid, they're so sturdy, they're easy to take around, and of course I want to be safe while I'm working on these fun sculptures. I just love them. They're awesome.
So what is it that we can do to help? What is it that we're doing that we can help this movement reducing these injuries? What are your thoughts? Lori. That's actually really important for those of you who are in manufacturing, really for all of us to pay attention to what we're doing. But if we don't put a weld on a rung, or we miss a rivet, or we do something that doesn't make that product quality as it goes out the back door, we actually could be contributing to the problem. So thank you. Any other thoughts? Charles.
My thought is buy-in. People need to buy into the idea first and foremost before you do anything, because if they don't buy into it, they're not going to do it.
Great point. So we got to believe ourselves. We have to buy into it, that we're going to take the precautions, do the things that we need to do to, otherwise it's just going through the motions. Here and then Amy. So Brian's comment was that we are innovators, looking for ways to make things safer. Are we doing that? How do you feel we're doing? I think we're doing pretty darn good compared to the products that are out there. And we're actually going to, I'm not sure if that is the next one. Where's James? Is that the next, that timeline one, is that the next one or is it not? We're going to look at that here in just a minute, but let's follow up on this just a little bit. Innovating new products. So most of us probably took something for granted this morning when we got up, and that was that we could get up, come to work, that we used our legs, we had no issues, we just came. There are people that are begging their Maker to be able to get back to work someday. They're begging to, pleading with God to be able to walk again, pleading that they'll be able to provide for their family, that they'll be able to pay their mortgage, that they'll be able to have a normal way of life because of an accident that they've had with a ladder. This point that Brian has brought up, most of the industry really, until recently, because they've been following us, hasn't cared. It's all about how cheap can I make a ladder and how many of those can we sell so that we can make money. What we're doing is very expensive. Research and development is expensive. Prototyping is expensive. Developing new tooling and new product lines, it's very expensive. The others will follow because we're taking some of their market share. But we're doing the right thing. We're helping to be able to reduce those numbers. And so you should be proud of the products that you're building, proud of those that are being engineered. We're going to highlight a couple of those today. We're going to show you some of the things that we've done that you should be proud of. Hopefully what you notice there is that we're picking up a lot of speed in the last 10 years, and there's a bunch more to come. But today we're going to highlight just a few of those products. And so we've got a couple of videos that we're going to run through, highlighting some of the ones that have been recent.
Our newest ladder is here, the Hyperlight. It's the world's lightest fiberglass extension ladder, rated 1AA, 375 pounds. Because it's so light, I can carry it easily, by myself. It's lean, mean, and high-vis green, the brightest and most vibrant color your eye can see, helping prevent injuries. But why does that matter? Today, 2,000 people will be injured using an ordinary ladder. 100 of them will suffer long-term or permanent disability. One of them will die. Today, a family will lose a father, mother, son, daughter. At Little Giant Ladders, everything we do changes that. Every weld, every rivet, every run. And every ladder we make helps one more person come home today. And the best part is that by doing our job right, you might not even realize we prevented your accident.
Hi, I'm Dave Francis, National Safety Director for Little Giant Ladders, and this is the Jumbo Step by Little Giant. Now, the Jumbo Step is a portable staircase rated at 1AA, 375 pounds. It comes in a 2-step, 3-step, and a 4-step. Now, if you've ever jumped in and out of the back of a pickup truck, you'll never do it that way again. Drop the handrail down on that Jumbo Step, put that up against the tailgate of your truck, and walk directly in and out of the back of your truck. Now this is a great solution to working at heights when you would be using a small 4-foot or 6-foot step ladder. Instead of standing on one of those small rungs or steps, working sideways off of your ladder, put this right up against the job, stand on these big comfortable steps and work directly into your job. Now the whole unit folds down with these hinges at the handrail. Twist that top step, the whole thing folds flat. The 3-step is only 15 pounds at that 1 AA rating. At the top of your handrail, you have a nice big tray, has all sorts of cutouts and compartments for tools and nuts and bolts, hooks for buckets and paint. It even has a little tray at the top if you're watching a tutorial video on your iPhone. Simply set your phone at the top, watch that video or put it in landscape mode. You can even take an iPad mini, watch that tutorial as you're doing the job. That's the Jumbo Step by Little Giant Ladder Systems.
We are being able to make a difference in preventing injuries and saving lives. These new products are just one of the ways. I've been able to hear many of those in our customer experience department talking about the Hyperlight ladder and some of our other new products, letting people know that there are better, safer ways to be able to work at heights. We're now going to have Super Dave Francis come on up and train us on ladder safety so that we are all a little more educated and prepared to work this next year, hopefully safer in ladders and carry that on throughout our job. So Dave.
Hey. Want to help me with those? We need to turn this one off. Why don't everybody stand up for a minute? These chairs are, I don't know about you, but starting to hurt my butt. Can't put that there. Huh? All right. Sit back down. You know what you guys are doing? You guys are changing an industry. Every place I go, people are stunned by what Little Giant has become. This isn't Little Giant. This is something else. Everybody is amazed by what Little Giant has become. Every time I go, they go, oh, we thought Little Giant was just the ladder from the infomercial. They don't realize that we've branched into this new stuff, that we've solved some of the age-old problems. And so what you're doing is changing an industry. You truly are reducing injuries and saving lives. Ryan talked about the number of fatalities is always around 365. Unfortunately, last year in 2017, it jumped over 400. So even with the amount of training that we're doing to try to teach people how to use their ladders correctly, they're still doing things that they've been doing for hundreds of years. And they're getting hurt. So the idea is to change the design to reduce the accidents and injuries by making a better product. Okay, not to pick on anybody because of their age, but Charles, when you were a kid, did your family car have seatbelts? No seatbelts. Everybody remember riding in the back window of a family car? Yeah. Airbags, sensors in the bumpers that keep you from getting into accidents. Yeah, none of that stuff. You know what the strongest thing in a car was when you were a kid? Your mother's arm, right? And the
The black car that Hal had, that 58 Roadmaster, the dash is all pointy and chrome. There weren't airbags. Who remembers playing with lawn darts when you were a kid? If you don't remember, a lawn dart was a big steel pin with little fins on it. And you'd throw a ring out there, everyone would stand around the ring and you'd throw it as high in the air as you could, see if you could land it in the circle. We don't make those anymore. Things have changed. Who carried a BB gun when they were a kid? Think you could carry a BB gun now? No. So when I was a kid, if my dad wanted me to be quiet in the back seat, he did something called a brake check. Has anyone been brake checked before? You're just driving down the road, everyone's in the back seat getting rowdy, you just tap on the brakes, everybody goes to the ground. Back in the 1960s and 70s, it was called parenting. Now we refer to it as child abuse. See how things have changed? Things have improved, things have gotten better. In the safety world, everything in safety has improved in the last 20 years except for ladders, and we're doing that. I talk to firefighters all the time and I say, would you use the same respirator that your grandpa used when he was a firefighter? No. Why not? Well, the ones now are better, lighter. How about the boots? No. How about the coat? No. How about the hat? No. The ladder on your truck is the ladder that your grandpa was using. That hasn't changed, still out there. Ladders are exactly the same. So we want to talk a little bit about ladder safety. Not only here at work, not a lot of you use ladders here at work even though we make ladders, but at home, we know that statistically the numbers go up quite a bit when you count homeowners because there's, the football game's about to start, you're trying to get the Christmas lights down, maybe somebody had one too many refreshments ahead of time, and the ladder's not very stable. So we see a lot of people being injured at home. So we want you to follow a few basic rules. Now, I'm not going to say who built this ladder. This is the kind of ladder that I'm going to refer to as grandpa's ladder, right? Everyone has a grandpa ladder that got handed down and it's in the back of your shed or someplace. And this is what it does right here. I'm standing on it and it does this. Oh, whoa! I didn't do anything to this ladder, by the way. This is what it does. That doesn't seem safe to me. Does it to you? No. I'm just twisting it with my hands here. So what do you think the ground would do if the ground wasn't level and this ladder just kind of shifted to the ground? Right? This is what people have been using for hundreds of years. And the accident numbers have continued to be the same. And what we've done is just add more and more stickers to the side so that we, as an industry, can cover our butts in court and say, well, you didn't follow number 3, so it's your fault. That's not what Little Giant's doing. Little Giant's saying we can change the design and improve it so that even if you do the things that you're not supposed to do, the accident isn't going to happen. So, a few basic guidelines. When you're choosing the right ladder for the job, number 1 rule is choose a ladder. Don't raise your hands because we don't need to know. A lot of people stand on these. I'm the National Safety Director for a ladder company. I speak about ladder safety training almost every day of the week. And on the weekends, if I have to get something in the kitchen, there's a ladder in the garage, but there's a bar stool in the kitchen. So human nature is, I'm just going to pull the bar stool over. Hopefully it's not one of those bar stools that spin while you're trying to stand on it. Stay off chairs, stay off tables, stay off the countertops. As much as your wife wants you to get that light fixed over the sink, she doesn't want you standing on her countertops in your work boots. Go outside, get a Little Giant ladder, set it up properly, and get the job done. So choose the right ladder. Human nature is, if I'm going to choose a ladder, I'm always going to choose the smallest one I can. because I don't want to carry the big one, right? That's just the way it is. So on job sites all the time, I see a stack of 6-foot ladders, a stack of 8-foot ladders, and a stack of 10-foot ladders. Guess which stack is always gone? 6-footers. Do you think they all need to use 6-footers? No. Most of them needed the 8s and the 10s. They just didn't want to carry the 8 or the 10. So where are they standing? Up here where they're not supposed to. They don't have anything to hold on to. They're going to tip and fall. They're going to become one of the statistics. So choose the right height of ladder, right material, right weight rating. We had a great little video about weight rating. You know, you don't think that you need a 300-pound rated ladder, but the weight that's on my driver's license was the weight I put down when I was 16 years old. I don't weigh that much anymore, right? That's not the weight. Plus, by the time you put on all your work clothes and you grab whatever tools you're going to have, you're over that 300-pound limit, or at least over a 250-pound limit fairly quickly. So want to make sure you have the right tool for the job. Why do we use fiberglass instead of aluminum in places? Electricity. Fiberglass is non-conductive. Now, aluminum is the better material to make a ladder out of. Aluminum's stronger, lighter, more ductile. Fiberglass is a resin, which means it's a plastic, and it gets cured in that shape. Once that resin is damaged in any way, fiberglass loses its mechanical properties very quickly. So never climb a ladder, especially a fiberglass ladder that has damage that wasn't there when the ladder was built. Okay? It's key. OSHA says inspect your ladder every time you climb it. There's just a few things that we want you to look at. Make sure that the feet on your ladder have tread. That's your tires on your truck. You want it to stick to the ground. You want it to hold in place. If it's worn out and the tread's gone, your tires are bald. They need to be replaced. That's not going to hold you to the ground. If there's any damage to the product in any way, don't climb it. You don't know what that's rated with that big gash in it or the dent in it or the break in it. There's no way of telling. Don't be the crash test dummy to figure it out. Never try and move your ladder without getting down and picking it up and moving it. Now, I don't want to put ideas in your head, but most people know what I'm talking about. People will think that I'm here and I need to be over there. Instead of getting down and moving my ladder, I'm going to do this. Why doesn't that work? Besides the fact that it takes 4 times more energy than just getting down and moving it, I'm just going to close my ladder on myself, right? The other thing is you can walk it back and forth like this, and it'll scoot across the floor, especially in a construction area where there's all that dust. What those guys don't know is if you're walking your ladder across the floor, it leaves a little trail. So when the safety officer walks by, he's like, hey, dude, come down. What are you doing? It just leaves a big zigzag all the way across the floor. Just get down, move the ladder over. Another area where I want you to get down and move it over, who's ever done this? It's right outside of my reach. I'm going to grab a hold of something over here. I'm going to stick this leg out to get some sort of counterbalance that I've figured out in my head so that I can reach out here and grab that last thing. Okay? Just get down and move your ladder. This is how all those catastrophic disabilities and fatalities happen, is I'm getting creative, I'm cutting corners, I'm taking risks that I shouldn't have to. If you're following a few basic rules and your ladder's in good condition, you're not going to have a ladder-related accident. The ladders that you built are, what's the safety factor? Anybody in testing, what do you test ladders to? 4 times. So if it's rated at 300 pounds, it's tested at 1,200 pounds, which means that you and a bunch of your friends could be on the ladder and it's not going to break. Not going to get anything done, but it's not going to break. So why do ladders break? Why people are on ladders and they say, I'm just standing there minding my own business, the ladder broke and I fell and hurt myself. That's not what happened. What happened is I tried to get that last little thing. The ladder went that way. I went this way. In my brain, I think I go flying way over there, but gravity has very specific rules that say I go down, which means I land on the bottom of the ladder. So my 250 pounds falling from 3 or 4 feet is going to generate enough force when it hits the bottom of the ladder to damage it. But you just don't have enough force in your weight to just stand on a ladder and cause any kind of damage. It's just impossible to do. So that's why we want to make sure that the ladder's in good condition, because if it's in bad condition, we don't know how much it's going to take, right? Ladder's in good condition. Just a few basic climbing rules. As you're going up and down your ladder, don't take a big armload of stuff and try and walk up your ladder and keep your balance like this. It's called 3 points of contact. It's highly arguable right now. The standard says 3 points of contact means I'm going to hold onto my ladder with 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet and 1 hand. So I'm going to maintain control and balance of myself as I go up and down. 2 feet, 1 hand, 2 hands, 1 foot. Now, what do I do when I get to the height where I'm going to be working? I lean my leg into the ladder, my hip. I maintain balance and control over my 3rd point of contact with my body before I let go and do any of that work. That part isn't specified in the OSHA standard. So we actually have customers that say, if you have to let go of a ladder with 2 hands to do the job, we now want you to be tied off from above to do the job. So Nestle's has huge manufacturing facilities all over the US. They just came out and said you can't go 4 feet off the ground or let go with both hands without being tied off from above. Well, tied off to what? Doesn't matter if you have a $500 harness and the best retractable on the market. If you don't have anything to tie off to, you're not tied off. So sprinkler heads or conduit or even trusses don't count as certified anchor points in most cases. You have to have a certified anchor point and it needs to be directly above you. I had a kid in Washington State came up to the booth. He had scar tissue from the tip of his finger all the way up his arm. He said, my company required me to be tied off while I was working on a press in our factory. So the only place to tie off was over in the middle of the aisleway. So they'd turn the machine off that I was working on, tied me off to an anchor point that was about 5 or 6 feet that direction. When I slipped coming down off of my ladder, I swung all the way across to the other side of the aisle where the press wasn't off. Stuck his hand out to stop himself, and had spent the last 5 years doing reconstruction on his arm. He told me, I only talked to him for about 5 minutes, and he told me 10 times, I wish I just would have hit the ground. I mean, I would have gotten a bruise. But they tied me to a rope swing and threw me against the press. So tying off is a gray spot in the industry right now, but you have the answer. You fixed it. On an A-frame ladder, you never want to stand, or you never should stand on the top cap of the ladder or the top step of the ladder. Why do we put a top step right here if you're not supposed to stand on it? What's its purpose? See this sticker right here? It says, this is not a step, don't stand here. This step is so we have a place to put the sticker. Doesn't make much sense, does it? We'll just take the temptation completely away, prevent you from standing on the top of the ladder by removing the temptation. Take the step away. On an extension ladder, you shouldn't stand on the top 3 rungs. And if you're going onto the roof of a house, you want those 3 rungs above the roof line. Never take your extension ladder and get it right on the edge of your roof and then have to scamper up or stick your foot down to try and find out where that ladder was. Okay? So the top 3 rungs of an extension ladder, the top 2 steps or rungs of a step ladder are do not climb. Now, let's start talking about some cool stuff. People carry the smallest ladder that they can so that they can misuse it. They end up carrying a 4-foot step ladder and standing on the top of a 4-foot step ladder. It just makes more sense to carry something like this that's lighter, easier to use, puts you in the right direction, goes right up against the wall. I can support my feet totally, work this way instead of this way. You got that little click at the bottom? Everybody's familiar with that? This freaks people out in the industry that don't know what this is. And I ask people, what do you think that's for? Holy cow, I don't know. What is that for? But as soon as you tell them and the light bulb goes off, they're like, oh man, that's brilliant, that's a genius. Depending on what industry you're in, 25% of the accidents on A-frame ladders happen because I step off before I get to the bottom of the ladder. Sounds dumb, right? Why would I step off before I get to the bottom? But chances are everybody in here knows exactly what I'm talking about because you've gone down a dark staircase, and at the bottom of that staircase you thought there was one more step and there wasn't, and you did that weird, almost blew my leg out trying to find the bottom. That happens on ladders every day. People start coming down their ladders and they get to the second rung and they just step off from here. With this, they become conditioned. We don't have to hold a class. They just have to use it. It's kind of a Pavlovian dog thing. You become conditioned to know that the bottom step feels and sounds differently than all the other steps on my ladder. I'm not going to step off until I feel and hear that step. So this is the airbag. This is the sensor in the bumper. This is the seatbelt that's going to prevent that accident from happening instead of just giving you the same old ladder over and over again. This is an amazing product when you're walking into a school or a hospital, all of those places where they've just been pulling up chairs and desks to do their job, and you show them this lightweight, 375-pound rated fiberglass, so it's non-conductive, with all these little safety features. It's really cool. Now, a little critique on telling the salesman exactly everything that you guys have invented. You invent so much stuff and so quickly that sometimes, I'm at a trade show a couple of months ago, and Ryan's over here showing a guy that these braces on the bottom of this Mighty Light are floating. They're not riveted in place. They act as shock absorbers. So when somebody pulls this out of the back of the truck and it goes down, that little gap right there you can see takes an impact and they move. So cool. You show people that and they're just so amazed by that. But just all the little itty bitty things that we've come up with. This is the new ladder for Lowe's. One of the big concerns with ladders is always the ground's not level. So my ladder is sitting like this. I ask people all the time, what do you do? They go, well, I just climb it over here. No. Or they go find a brick or a board or something that they can level it back out with. With this, I'm just going to step on it and level it. Cool, huh? When I'm done, I'm just going to squeeze that little orange tab at the bottom. It's going to go right back in, spring-loaded. But isn't that cool? Look at that. We have some awesome stuff. We really are changing the industry. Now, let's talk about this, this ladder right here. The cable industry, they have 50,000 technicians in the field today making sure that our cable TV's on. Each one of those guys is required to do 10 installs a day. So just Comcast is responsible for 500,000 ladder handles every single day with the number of guys that they have. The ladder that they were using was about 75 pounds. You guys were able to bring this down to 50 pounds. Do you think the guys like the 50-pound ladder better than the 75-pound ladder? So much so that I got a phone call that said, hey, you know what? We started bringing in Little Giant ladders, and now I'm getting a lot of ladder damage. And my initial thought was, oh, what are we doing wrong? You know, what's breaking on the Little Giant? What do I need to do to fix this? And he goes, no, you don't get it. My guys don't get the Little Giant until their ladder needs to be replaced. So all of the old ladders are accidentally falling off the truck, and then they stop and go, hey, what fell off the truck? I don't know, back up and see. Back up over the top of the ladder and come back in and say, oh, we need one of those Little Giants because ours got run over today. He goes, you wouldn't believe the number of ladders that are being run over so that they can get their hands on a 50-pound ladder instead of a 75-pound ladder. It's a personal benefit to them. They feel better at the end of the day. They're not packing around this big, heavy ladder. They love it. Now, we've done a couple of other things that are game changers. A lot of the cable guys will go to the strand, which sounds dangerous. It is. They're actually extending their extension ladder up to the wire. The wire, however, is not straight across. The wire is like this. So sometimes one hook will make contact, the other hook won't. If they shift their weight, they do something called pinwheeling, and the ladder just spins on them. What Little Giant came up with was this system at the top. When the cables hit that wire, this closes. When these hooks hit the wire, this closes just with the weight of the ladder. So you put the ladder in place, it closes on the wire, it's locked to the wire. It's balanced open, so to get it to open up, they don't have to do anything special. They just raise their ladder open, and it opens up on them. So we're actually allowing them to lock in from the ground. They don't have to activate it. They don't have to deactivate it. All they have to do is set it in place, and it locks to what they're working on. So, dangerous, yes. Thank you. It was last week I was doing a presentation, and the owner of the company was sitting right about where Art was, and I was using multi-purpose ladder, and I didn't realize that I didn't have the hinge lock or the lock tabs locked in. So when I tilted it away, that outer section slid out and stopped about a half an inch from his face. So you really don't want to hurt somebody during your safety presentation. That's like the down. So Art just moved. So this is one of the coolest things, and this blows people's mind. This won the Occupational Health and Safety Innovation of the Year last year. We have the red rungs. That's a reminder to go up on top. Ropes on the side instead of like it is with Grandpa's ladder in the middle of your ladder where you're supposed to be climbing it. It's double pulleyed, so you have that mechanical advantage. But most importantly, we have these outriggers at the base. What happens if somebody's climbing an extension ladder and they reach too far? Well, that ladder goes over. What we want to do is drop these down to the first usable position. That's going to double the width at the base. Now, even if somebody's out here where they're not supposed to be, this ladder isn't going to tip over. Even a fat guy like me all the way out here doesn't get the ladder to tip. If I don't get outside of the footprint, I can't tip the ladder over. People are going to have less serious accidents because of this innovation. You're saving people's lives, you're preventing injuries, you're getting them home at the end of the day because they overreach. We tell them not to, but they still do. Now we have the safety feature in place that's going to prevent that accident from happening, even when they do what they're not supposed to do. So this is the seat belt or the airbag. or the sensor in the bumper that's going to prevent the accident from happening, and we've added it to a ladder. So you're changing the industry. Even with these outriggers on the bottom, this ladder is lighter than Grandpa's ladder was to start with. So lighter, more stable, and levels to the ground just that quickly. I don't have to go find a brick or a board. I'm just going to level it to the ground. There's levels built in all over this ladder to tell you how to do it. One little trick. If you're climbing a ladder at home to get up onto the roof of your house, we build these with this little level right here on the side that tells you when you get your ladder to 75 degrees, 75.5 degrees. But if your ladder doesn't have that at home, then they tell you to do a math problem. For every 4 feet up you go, you're supposed to come out 1 foot. I'm not going to do a math problem. I'm not in junior high anymore. The fire department figured out you don't have to do the math problem. Everybody in here's body is built at a 4-to-1 ratio. Put your toes at the feet of the ladder. Hold your hand straight out so that the palm of your hand is on the rung at shoulder height so that you can close your hand, and you'll set your ladder up at 75 degrees every time. So before you climb that ladder, just take that second to hold your hands out, put the palm of your hand on that rung at shoulder height. Make sure that your ladder's set at the right angle. That's key because if it's too steep, the ladder will tip over from the top. If it's too shallow, it'll slide out from underneath you at the bottom. We build and design ladders to be used at 75 degrees. You're built as a gauge to set it up at exactly 75 degrees, so use it before you climb, okay? Now, this product is another one of these giant game changers. We talked about 3 points of contact and tying off above certain heights. The standard says that portable ladders like A-frames and extensions are exempt from tie-off rules, but a lot of companies still have them in their own policy, as well as 3-point of contact rules. So now we're worrying about where to tie the person off to above them. What kind of harness and lanyard, what kind of a tie-off point are we going to use? Instead of doing that, this will allow them to take an engineered guardrail system with them. So now instead of standing on an A-frame ladder on a step, I'm completely supported in a great big platform. I can work 360 degrees. I have a 42-inch handrail all the way around me. So I don't need a tie-off from above, and I don't need to hang on with three points of contact. I can just get my job done. Now we make this in a fixed height, if you know exactly how high you need to be off the ground, and then we make a couple of series that telescope. I train people that if they have the option to work out of a scissor lift, that's going to be the safest alternative. Scissor lifts have better numbers, safety numbers, than scaffolding and ladders do. But you can't put a scissor lift in a staircase. You can't put a scissor lift in sloping ground. You can't get a scissor lift in a lot of places just because it's too small. This is a manual scissor lift. This is going to give them that guardrail system or tie-off option built in. This is a game changer. So the problems with Grandpa's ladder, with that blue whatever. The ground's never level. We built in levelers. It's too heavy. We made it lighter. People go too high on the ladders. We took the step out. There's no stability, so we get all of the catastrophic accidents from tip and fall because people overreach. What we've done there is we've added stability at the bottom, we've added locking mechanisms at the top, and we've added containment at the top. So your guardrail system's built in, or we've got flare at the bottom so that you have stability that you didn't have with other ladders. So all of those problems that have been around for hundreds of years in ladders, we've solved. When we show people, they're stunned. It's not every single time, but it's almost every single time someone will say at the end of my presentation, if we would have had that product, so-and-so would still be alive. That's staggering. I mean, that's powerful. We were at Frontier Communications. They had a fatality on an extension ladder, and the union rep walked over to the suit and said, if you would have bought us this ladder, Jack could still be alive. And the guy said, yeah, you're right. Some people just don't know that it exists, and that's our job, is to get the message out as the best we can, that they don't have to settle for grandpa's ladder anymore. But there's a level of pride knowing that what you do is actually saving people's lives, right? We don't want to work for a company that our product kills people. We want to be the people who are changing the industry, and that our product is what's changing the problems that have been around for hundreds of years. So everything that you do, we need the quality. We need to treat our people on the phones like we're solving their problem, like we're the experts. When they call us and ask us, they expect us to know. We're the solution people. We're the innovation people. We're the experts. So understand that what you're doing is making a huge difference in the industry. We're getting the other companies to start to follow us. They've started making lightweight extension ladders. They've started trying to make something similar to the cage. They just haven't really come close yet. But we are affecting change in the industry. We are making a difference. So realize that what we're doing just isn't making ladders. We truly are saving lives. Something to be proud of, something to work hard for, something to be a part of. And we're grateful for you in your efforts to help us save people's lives. So whatever you do for the company, we appreciate it. We love it. I mean, we need you. So help us. You know, some of the greatest ideas that we have on these products came from listening to people. And some of the people who have the best ideas are the people who do it day in and day out. So submit ideas. Talk to Terry, talk to Darius, talk to somebody, say, hey, I've got an idea. I'll tell you a really quick story. Nikki? Years ago, when Ryan and I were back in manufacturing, and things weren't running as smoothly as they are now that Terry's in charge, we had a BYU kid that came in to work during the summer. We used to call the machine that puts the holes in the tube Bruno. I don't know if you still call it Bruno or not. We named it Bruno because back in the day, if you ran Bruno all day long, you felt like you got beat up by a guy named Bruno. This BYU kid walks into the office first thing in the morning and he says, you're running this machine wrong. And what did Ryan and I say? We said, shut up and get back to work. You don't know what you're talking about. It's your first day. You don't know anything. Get back. We know it's hard. Go out there and do it. Man up. So at the end of the day, he came up to us and he said, hey, I have this idea. I want to run it past you. I want to see what you think. So we walked over and looked at it. And he said, we slide this tube onto the mandrel and we punch a hole. And then we use that hole to index for the next hole. So now we're sliding 2 holes onto the mandrel. Now we're sliding 3 holes. And if there's a burr, every single hole makes that harder and harder and harder to do. He said, why don't we slide it all the way in with no holes and then punch it on the way out? Well, Bruno went from being the slowest machine on the line to being the fastest machine on the line because we did it backwards. It only took us a day to make the change. But somebody looked at it differently. We've been doing it that way for 20 years. Sliding it on. Sometimes we had a rubber mallet. Some of you old guys remember, we had a rubber mallet. We were hammering that part onto the mandrel. It was so hard. Then hammering it off. And it just took somebody to say, slide it on first and punch it on the way out. So whatever it is you do, if it's paperwork that now is being touched 7 times, figure out a way to get it to be touched 5 times or 3 times. If you're working on a machine in the back, figure out how to make it safer, faster, better. If you have an idea for a product, let us know. You're the people who do it day in and day out. You're the people that are going to have the ideas. Share them, let us know, help us make the product better, help us make it faster, help us serve our customers better. Again, thanks for all you do. We really couldn't do it without you. And we are truly making a difference. We truly do reduce injuries and save lives through the products that we manufacture and the training that we provide. So thanks for all that you do, and enjoy the day.
Thanks, Dave. And now you know why Dave's not in manufacturing anymore. No, Dave does an awesome job, and we hear that from just all corners of the United States. And in fact, later this month, we're to celebrate Ladder Safety Month, I believe we're doing a global event where we'll have people here from Europe, either on the line or here in person, Asia, and are really trying to broaden the scope of what we do. So a couple of cool things that we've done and that will make a difference as we go forward is, I've been here a long time, Ryan's been here a long time, Dave's been here a long time, a lot of you guys have been here a long time, but you make a better ladder, and this one should cost, what, $500? Doesn't cost $500, it doesn't cost $450, doesn't cost $400, doesn't cost $300, doesn't cost $250. We're going to be down around $150 to $250 depending on where it's at on special. So we're playing in a whole different space. So you have this dynamic of we continue to do better products, more innovative at better pricing, and we're more relevant in the market while we're being safe doing it. So that's a real big change in the direction that we're going. How many of you were here at 2016? Most of you. Thank you very much. We had a great 2016. How many of you are here for 2017? Thank you very much. We had a very, very good 2017. Everybody, to the best of my knowledge, that's in here is an important member of the team, and we need all of you to do it. So, again, thank you very much. Those are the 2 corporate wigs for 2000. Well, it's for the year, but it's going to end December 1st. But thank you for everything you do. I'm not even going to get started on who did what or what. It's such a slippery slope. Everybody did what they needed to do, and we retired tons of goals early. We went back and dug in again, and we continue to do that, and it's just been awesome. And thank you very much. And I think we're going to have lunch early because I can't talk long. Oh. All right. All right, well, let's do 2 things then. We're going to have one more video. It's a fairly quick one. And then we're going to have a blessing on the food. Mel, would you give us a blessing on the food before we begin? And we'll watch this video, and then we'll have some lunch.
2,000. That's how many Americans have some kind of an accident involving a ladder every single day. And data shows of those accidents each day, at least 1 person dies. But a Springville-based company is trying to change that. Allie Monson shows us how in tonight's sponsored Utah Success Story.
The reason we get out of bed, the reason we do what we do every day is to help prevent injuries.
And for CEO Ryan Moss and his team at Little Giant Ladders, preventing injuries looks like this. As one of the largest ladder manufacturers in the country, this Springville-based corporation climbed to the top through innovation.
This particular ladder is really one ladder that does it all. It's an extension ladder, multiple sizes of an A-frame ladder,
It's a staircase ladder. It can also separate into trestles, and you can put a plank across it. And so this one ladder will replace many, many ladders.
But this articulating ladder wasn't always so advanced. It started as a concept founder Hal Wing licensed from a German painting contractor back in 1972. A humble beginning, Wing's sons say shaped the company's future.
He used to like to say he became very good at selling. He sold his boat, he sold his motorhome, he sold his car, he sold some other things, but it was really rough at the beginning. We began as an importer and then eventually began manufacturing.
More than 45 years later, Art and Doug Wing continue to run this family-owned business on their dad's core principles of hard work, humility, and genuine concern for employees.
If you concentrate on building a business and not the man, you won't achieve. But if you concentrate on building the man, you achieve both.
Actually, I look forward to coming to work every day because I know that we make a difference here at Little Giant Ladders in helping our customers stay safe.
And helping your loved ones stay safe is what keeps Little Giant Ladders in business.
One of the things that we've done in this effort to prevent injuries and save lives is to address the 5 leading causes of ladder accidents. And so we've taken each of those and we've built products that address those.
Whether it's supporting fighter pilots and astronauts, keeping construction and utility crews safe, or just providing people peace of mind in their own homes, to Little Giant Ladders, every rung, every rivet, and every weld matters. Well, because every person matters. In Springville with another Utah success story, I'm Allie Monson.